Kenya and Lesotho sign a three-deal package to boost bilateral ties. Executive orders during Jammeh's regime cannot be defied, says former IGP. UDP calls on National Assembly member to return to party or face consequences. These and more coming on the world today on iAfrica TV. Hello, it's 1400 GMT here in our studio in Banjul. I am Fatmata Jaju, and now the news in detail. Esa Baji, former Inspector General of Police, is before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission today. The most feared police personnel at the time of his service told the commission that defying executive orders during Jammeh's regime carried heavy consequences and gave a narrative of the situation senior security officials were faced with. Mr. Baji cited several examples of human rights violations by the former regime. He revealed to the commission that the former president believed that he was challenging him, thus on numerous occasions received threats.
So for our own benefit, can you explain to us what situation you are referring to? What kind of situation were senior officers at the police faced with at that time?
Ika instructions le follow.
During these days, you only follow instructions. Whether you like it or not, you have to follow those instructions. If you don't do that, you know what will happen to you. We all, everybody here, even the commissioners,
outside.
Everybody in the country, except for those who were living out of the country, we all knew what was happening. But nobody talks.
And what were people afraid of? What was the fear? What would happen if you either disobeyed orders or didn't do what was expected?
You
yourself should know what was happening. Even if you don't know, you might hear it from people.
Well, because I can't testify and you're the one sitting there, you'd have to give us some examples so that we understand what you're talking about. Particularly within the context of the security sector.
Executive orders
when executive orders come,
you can't violate.
You cannot violate it. Unless you leave the country and go out.
But
you will not deny those orders and stay in the country and get your freedom.
UDP executive for Busumbala constituency lays conditions for its breakaway National Assembly member to return to the party and apologize or face consequences. The party said at a press conference that MP Sekuba Jaju is no longer working in the interest of the party, both at the National Assembly and at the party level. While the party calls on President Barrow to respect the coalition agreement of 3 years, Honorable Jaju is supporting Barrow to stay for 5 years.
The administration of the United Democratic Party for Busumbala constituency has given its breakaway to National Assembly member until end of November to apologize or face consequences. The party said at a press conference on Tuesday that Sekuba Jaju is no longer working in the interest of the party, both at the National Assembly and at the party level. While the party calls on President Barrow to respect the coalition agreement of 3 years, Honorable Jaji is supporting the constitutional 5 years mandate. Chairman of the Busumbala constituency, Kemo Sise, said their constituency is at the moment without a representation at the National Assembly, as the elected member is working against the values of the very party that earned him the position.
For a week back, the party executive committee, through the party leader and the secretary general, made a statement on behalf of the party that the United Democratic Party want to stand by the agreements made by Coalition 2016, which United Democratic Party is a member to. Our National Assembly member went to social media and said he is for the 5 years mandate as per Constitution, which means he is against the decision of the executive of the United Democratic Party. These and many other reasons prompted us to make it public through the very important press that we have in front of us here, that our National Assembly member, Honorable Sekuba Jaju, is being suspected partying company with his own electorates. And the negative effects that is going to cause in our constituency, or is causing, Honorable Sekuba Jaju is working alone without the involvement of Democratic elected executive committee of the Busumbala constituency, creating gaps that should not be the case.
He enumerated instances in which Honorable Jaju would solitarily decide in opposition to the expectation of the party.
During our discussion we had with him, that was the last meeting we had with Sekuba, to just discuss and make sure we have peace in the constituency. It was like a reconciliation meeting. But nonetheless, at that meeting, he promised to come back and work with the elected executive committee of Busumbala constituency. But nonetheless, we're still facing a lot of problems that we think he is not trying to cooperate and work with the current executive. To our surprise, he was jumping from the frying pan into the fire with the following as key indicators of disrespecting the key cultures, values, and core principles of the United Democratic Party. That voting against motions that the President of the Republic come before the National Assembly to answer key questions on the state of nation address.
Apart from the issue of the transitional term, the National Assembly member is more engaged in supporting programs and policies of the current president and his Borough Youth Movement than what the UDP has to offer. Mr. Caesar pointed out that the parliamentarian is no longer attending important party functions such as political rallies and executive meetings, and despite all the reconciliation efforts with him, the situation is getting worse. According to plan, the Busumbala UDP team will be in 17 days' time declare Honorable Jaju as opposition to the UDP if he doesn't yield to their demands. For African News, I am Binta Baji.
The UDP faces a dilemma with some of its members supporting the president's agenda. Former Police Intervention Unit Officer Mustafa Sise on Tuesday revealed to the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission that exiled President Jammeh distributed condoms to soldiers upon deployment to Kanilai, an act he claims to have gone against. Mr. Sise told the commission that as a result of his rejection of the offer, he was charged, but the case did not progress. The former police asserted that the ex-president initiated the witch hunt exercise to cover up for his criminal activities such as drug dealing. There's more in this report.
Mustafa Sise, a former police officer, Tuesday testified before the TRRC, where he discussed Gambia's former president Yahya Jammeh's 2009 witch hunting exercise. Testifying via Skype, the Gambia US base speaks confidently to the commission on what he witnessed concerning the topic. Mr. Sise, who was a police officer under Jammeh's regime, said he joined the Gambia police force to serve his country and not to involved in illegal issues that will contradict his job. He said he refused to go to Mr. Jammeh's home village of Kanilai because of his suspicion of what they might have been ordered to do there. After seeing the sharing of condoms among police officers who were supposed to go there, he said he also refused because he suspects that they will be taken to work on Mr. Jammeh's farms. He said former President Jammeh came up with the witch hunting exercise just to cover up himself as he was alleged to be involved in drug dealing with South American drug cartels.
And humiliate them. The information that I later got around 2010, even though I did not confirm this, so I don't want to, that's why I didn't put it in my statement, but it's worth putting it out here. If it is further investigated to be true, then that's perfect. If it is not, then I assume it is just from my source that must have missed it. Yaya Jammeh at the time was understood to be involved in drugs. The reason why this witch hunting happened, they were only using this name witch as a cover-up. He was involved with South American drug cartels. We understand cocaine and heroin were being produced from a poppy from either Afghanistan or somewhere else. Yaya Jammeh, in his whatever nature, wanted to prove to them that Gambia has something that was more effective for drugs than poppy. That was why they were using Kube Jaro to sample.
He further explained that the then IGP, Esa Baji, once addressed them on the witch hunting exercise to spot out alleged witches from the police. According to him, the mission was carried out by some marabouts who were believed to be witch hunters. For Africa News, I am Amadou Kante reporting.
That was Mustafa Sise, former PIU officer who testified yesterday before the TRRC. We now go for a break and come back shortly.
Tegla yo foda oda atabuka sonna tegla ke oda atabuka sonna ka tegola atabuka sonna tegla ke
Ngo Gambia be tulo be lori menna kabiri sanjuma ima moyno sila moy waton be wala kono yalong ni on the 23rd November ni 2019 sang memba kono te jisul men ka den kilo la men ka fo jalika izi mo nyamano wala be tulumba soto la independence
bara ayeto nyama
ku chanja ma wala bi
bari kam men foto nyama ha ñing gisuli kam men maji ay denk lo non dum Gambia fangole tam dum Gambia lo tam so ko men ngel non kabin ka to foko ina Gambia be nga findi nga stadium mo fandite wallahi surwal ka fo men nako so baye sa anda bo dem feka fo borom so ñunu bi su ñu mun to la andal wallahi ñu mun andal nga tanga stadium mo fandite 23 November 2019 stadium mo to
ndo den datula ko mat dekatale
ke bare kula ndafa mata de la bari ndam
woli ñaw yalo
hay
bari bi ya de ya
If you wish me well, I will wish you well. If you pray for me, I will pray for you.
Welcome back. You are watching the World Today News. Let's now take a look at our remaining stories. Kenya and the Kingdom of Lesotho signed a deal on establishment of a joint commission for cooperation, a memorandum of understanding for bilateral consultation, and another memorandum in the field of sports. Lesotho Prime Minister Teban, who arrived in Kenya on Sunday for a 3-day state visit, was formally received by President Uhuru Kenyatta. The cooperation deals are geared towards boosting bilateral cooperation between the two countries. There's more in this report.
Kenya and the Kingdom of Lesotho earlier three key parts geared towards boosting bilateral cooperation between them. The deals were agreement on the establishment of a joint commission for cooperation (JCC), memorandum of understanding for bilateral consultations, as well as a memorandum of understanding in the field of sports. This development arose after talks held between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Mosoheto Mostobani, Prime Minister of Lesotho, at the State House of Nairobi. The agreement to establish a JCC will enable the two countries to identify and explore areas of cooperation, while the MOU on sports will provide an opportunity for development of sports as an economic activity. Similarly, the bilateral consultations will pave the way for the two countries to hold consultations on both bilateral and multilateral matters affecting the two countries at regional, continental, and global level. President Kenyatta told the press that the Kingdom of Lesotho continues to be one of Kenya's strongest allies on the global stage.
The Kingdom of Lesotho continues to be one of Kenya's strongest allies on the global stage. Indeed, your endorsement of Kenya as the African Union's candidate for the non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for 2021-22 is an affirmation of the strong bilateral relations that exist between our two sister countries. So I therefore urge our respective teams who are here with us today to ensure that the negotiations are completed and that the framework is put in place to carry this forward.
Lesotho has one of the most vibrant textile sectors on the African continent with a growing share of global apparel market. Prime Minister Tabani applauded President Kenyatta's leadership, saying he looked forward to the fruits of their relations.
God bless this ceremony because it's not going to be the first between our two countries. Let's have many more signs of very close and very genuine cooperation between our two countries. I thank you very much.
The 3-day state visit has enabled Prime Minister Tabani access to different historical sites, including the grave of Kenya's founding father, Jomo Kenyatta, at Parliament Building in Nairobi. For iAfrican News, I am Lisa Singate.
Now, the local recycling industry is seemingly gaining momentum in the African continent as innovative youth continue to find a way out in their own traditional means. Some 3 years ago, a young Cameroonian entrepreneur came up with a way to use plastic waste instead of cement to make eco-friendly paving slabs. His initiative made way for job creation among highly unemployed young people who at the same time were poor and underprivileged. Today, a similar technology is making the news in Guinea, where a youngster is producing paving stones out of plastic waste. The idea will also fight against waste that wreaks havoc in the environment in general. Let's take a look.
Mariam Mohamed Keita pedals the bike that allows her to heat the fire. Another one stirs the substance in the tank. In just 6 months, Mariam's company was able to recycle 5 tons of plastic in the Guinean capital Conakry. Her workshop began almost by chance.
During a walk in search for jobs, I noticed piles of plastic throughout the capital. That's how I decided to do something to change this image. I explained the project to my husband, and together we reflected and went on cobblestones production because no one has yet thought of this project in Guinea.
Mariam and her team work 7 hours a day to make 40 cobbles. At Binedu Global Services, the square meter of the plastic cobble is sold for about $6 against $7 for cement pavers. The young Guinean entrepreneur says she has taken into account the risks of turning plastic waste into cobblestones in her project.
My only goal was to set up the company while taking into account the protection of the environment through pollution prevention. I spoke with an environmentalist friend of mine about the impact of my project. It was about assessing the negative and positive sides. All plastics collected will no longer be in gutters. This is already a step in the sanitation of Conakry.
Some analysts find the project of processing plastic waste into pavers innovative but dangerous. According to them, the black carbon released by the combustion of plastics contributes to climate change and air pollution, which could increase the risk of acute respiratory diseases and chronic diseases such as lung cancer.
In order to stop talking about plastics in our society, focus must be on the production of biodegradable waste. It's also about influencing or creating measures that encourage companies to recycle or reuse in their value chains. But plastic packaging companies must also be able to reuse their packaging. That's to say, when a customer buys a product and he comes back with the same plastic bag at the next purchase, he receives a discount on the purchase price. The government must also develop taxation approaches for companies that produce plastic bags.
Thanks to her leadership, Mariam and her team have managed to make some deals with private companies and individuals. Today, she plans to expand her business within the country while spreading awareness on the dangers of plastic waste in the West African nation.
There. Well, that brings us to the end of this bulletin. For more on these and other stories, kindly log on to our website on iafrica.tv. Please stay tuned for the continuation of our TRRC broadcast.